Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures, not necessarily in that order. Welcome to another edition. Getting in an ugly habit these days of starting this thing casually late, you know, that's not good. It's not good. People want it on time. Get here on time. Get your ass going. And it's God, it's just like, I don't know. And then 2-3 minutes late becomes 5-6 minutes late, becomes 8-9 minutes late. I have no idea. Just, I need to focus. But we're here, we're queer, get used to it. Welcome in to the show from the Baldwin Ace Hardware Fear Bunker Studio. We have a lot of topics to get into today, but first of all, I want to remind you that the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast happens tonight, and I chuckle every time I think about it because of the different level that the show always goes to whenever Ben and I get together with you, the audience. Now, when we do that show, you know, I see a lot of the same people. It's usually a dozen or so of us get together. But if you're kind of like on the fence whether you should join, do it. I don't want it to seem like it's some kind of clique. We've recently gotten out of that mode of that clique thing going on. That's gone. I want to invite you, if you're new, to check it out. Now, in order to get to it, it is part of being on Patreon. So if you are on Patreon and you're like, well, I send an email out before the show starts, and it's just a Zoom link. So when you see it, click on it. So if you're on Patreon, there you go. If not, sign up. Sign up for just, this month, and you'll see how much fun it can be doing an ensemble show. And I say ensemble because it's not just Ben and I. Several of the audience members have developed into, I don't know, some kind of like characters. Okay? Adam S. writes, I can attest to this. I rarely show up, but when I do, it is fun. Thank you. Chris says it's always fun to watch. Aram says no bullies allowed. Well, I don't know about that. So I'm just glad that we'll be able to get after that again today. We should start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. Okay. I also want to promote the charity angle. 'Tis the season, And I just had yesterday on the Huge Show, the race director, the man behind the Grand Rapids Marathon, talking about this exact thing. Mike Ball v. Eric Zane, Year 2. Thank you, Blood on Stars, interesting name, for following the show on Twitch. Okay, so you can see, if you are watching on the live stream, the little video shot there of the website. Donate to guess who will win the race, Eric or Mike. We have, a week and a half until the race, less than. All right. So if you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Eric Zane fan page, and pinned to the top is this little article with the link about getting in on the betting. And, it's one thing to sit around and beg for money for a charity, but this is a great bet. And the goal being to raise $2,000. We upped it from $1,000 because Mike Ball himself bet on him for $1,000. All right. If you bet, your $25 donation lets you bet on the race. And then in the comments, you pick your champion, Mike or Eric, and how much your champion is going to win by. If your time is closest to the actual margin of victory, Let's say you pick Mike and you are closest to the actual margin of victory. You will win $300. Second closest, $200. And then third closest, $100. Mike, so bold when we started this campaign, said, I'm doubling it. If Eric wins, pick Eric, and then by how much time? He'll make it $600 to the closest. $400 for second closest, $200 for third closest. Okay, so what the hell? I mean, bet once for me, bet once for Mike. Diversify your portfolio, as they say. So even if you were to so $25 minimum. Some folks put $100 and just bet once. Don't do that. Put in 4 separate bets, $25 a pop. But do it because we're raising money for the AT Children's Project. That's how we do it now, is here on this platform. So I sent the link along in the live stream. It'll be in the show notes of the recorded podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Now, yesterday, I was on the Huge Show. It worked out awesomely. I was talking with Brett, the Hitman Hayes, sometimes known as Superfly, sometimes known as Lurch, sometimes known as Brett. And doing the Huge Show on 96.1 The Game, I was saying to him, I go, this is so easy to do. He said, what do you mean? I go, well, I mean, every day for the past 4 years, I have talked for 2 straight hours, take a break, publish that podcast, and then do it again for another 40. So talking for 10, 15 minutes at a time and then taking a commercial break is ridiculously easy. I'm like, this is a breeze. Doing this has gotten me used to all of this, for talking for way too long. Because it's not like I didn't, let's go take a commercial break. True, I take intermissions here. But, oh, my God, it's an amazingly fun time. And then so I'm winding down this period of time where you get to talk before you have to take this freaking commercial break. I'm like, I don't want it to end. I want it to keep going. And when you're alone in there, okay, so I had Don Kern from Grand Rapids Marathon First Hour. We just shot the shit, talked about him being a world record holder. It's great. Don's awesome. And then hour 2, Trey Connor from the Grand Rapids Gold basketball team. And by the way, the Gold on Thursdays, on their Thursday games, if you are here in West Michigan, they are adopting $2 beers, $2 dogs. Holy shit. That just leads to some great, great crowds. Everybody's just having a great time. $2 beers, $2 dogs, and which at one point was dollar beer, dollar dogs. The Griffins used to do that. $1 beer, $1 dogs, and then they raised the price. No, now it's $2 beer, $2 dogs. I don't think you can go much higher than that, In fact, I think this should go backwards and make it $1 beer, $1 dog. It's a great promotion. It's fantastic. All the college kids drink for next to nothing. Oh. So, all right, had Trey in. And then hour 3, basically just talking shit. Making stuff up about Bill. It was fantastic. I love it. I love being on the radio. I don't care how maligned that industry is. Okay? I still like it. And the reason why is the uncertainty of knowing who's listening. I mean, that's kind of true with podcasting as well. I mean, I can look and I can see who's the couple dozen or so that are enjoying the live stream. But I know in a podcast, very rarely do you get a mixed bag of people that are listening. It's all people that follow you or really go out of their way to hear what you have to say. Radio, not so much, and you don't know who, okay? So, and being that on the podcast, you can say whatever the hell you want. You can't do that on the radio. So, Bill, as I sit down to start the show, Brett starts barking out orders that Bill has said. He goes, Bill wants me to run the board. So I go, okay. And then he says, and he also said, no sexy talk. And I said, okay. And then what else? Don't eat the mic. Now, what he doesn't mean like actually bite into the microphone, but like when I work this mic right here, as you can see, my face is right up to it. There, you don't need that. They have all this expensive processing that makes it so when your face is away from the mic, it's still very prominent when it hits your ears. If I move my head away from this microphone in any way, if you hear that, how it just disappears, and I'm barely away from it. It sounds like I'm 8 miles away, but so I have to be right up to it. For some reason, they've got some fancy processing that makes it that if you are far away, so he's like, don't eat the mic. Do not eat the microphone. It comes out distorted. I'm like, whatever. So Ding Dong's giving me rules. So I think the most important one is no sexy talk. So I started the show out with my impression of Bill. This is a huge show across Michigan, the only show where the people come first. Lots of people. People love me. People want to talk. 1-866-838-HUGE. Follow me, The Huge Show on Facebook, The Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Snapchat, The Huge Show on WhatsApp, The Huge Show on Grindr. And as soon as I said Grindr, which is the gay sex app, like if you want some gay sex, you just go to Grindr and you just pick whoever you want to have gay sex with. I think that's how it works. I don't know. That's the rumor. And so that was enough to make Brett go, oh, come on. I just told you no sexy talk. I was like, what? Not everybody knows what that is. Like, it's a multi-layered, reference, I think. Kind of. But, whoever needs to get it, gets it. And short time later, I noticed he's like hiding. I go, Brett, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm cringing because you already broke one rule. And I'm like, oh, shit. Here we go. But it worked out. It was fun. We finished the show. We're walking out of the building on Monroe Center, and there's 10 people walking down the street in robes. And one of them is banging on a drum, and they're chanting on the opposite side of Monroe Center. And I go, hey, Brett, what's going on there? He goes, I don't know. So, I'm a pretty pleasant, loving soul. And as they are directly across the street from us, I waved. And some guy turns and he waves at me. And then he waves me over. He wants me to join together with the band. And I'm like, no. I wave him off. No. He's not taking no for an answer. He walks the street. He walks across the street, and he comes walking up. And he's brown. He's Indian heritage. Country, what do you call it? Dots, not feathers. He says, hello, how are you? I go, I'm well. I am Prakash. I said, well, nice to meet you, Prakash. I'm Eric. And gives me a gift. Look at that. You can only see that if you're on the live stream, but it says the perfection of yoga. And you got a guy sitting there in crisscross applesauce with his hands up. And there's Vishnu. Okay. Chris writes, Krishna's close. And Prakash says, are you spiritual? I go, yeah, I'm spiritual. I would say so. And he shows me this book, and I go, oh, yoga. Yeah, I've done yoga. Not like this. You haven't done yoga like this. This is the perfection of yoga. Bhagavad Gita. And that's the guy on the back of this. That's their spiritual leader. One of you says, Chris says, and now you're in a cult. Yeah, that's what's going on here. And so this guy's doing the recruitment thing. Brett immediately is puffing on a cigarette. He's getting sheepish. He's backing away. I go, Brett, what are you doing? Get in here. Talk to Prakash. The fuck? He come across the street, gives me a gift, and you're just acting like a child. Step up. He gives me the gift, and he wants me to join them. Like right then. He goes, would you come and see us? Would you walk with us? I go, no, I can't do that, Prakash. So this conversation goes on for a little bit too long. I'm just staring at him. And he goes, will you give me your phone number so I can tell you? And I go, no. I go, Prakash, I'm not going to give you my phone number. Then he says, can I have money for the cost of the book and its disbursement in publication? I go, well, yes. I'm going to get out my wallet, Prakash, and whatever's in there is yours. Now, I know there's only a couple of receipts in there. I open it up. I go, Prakash, look at this. Look at this. And he goes, oh. I go, do you want the book back? I can give you the book back. No, you have it. And he goes, what do you do? I go, well, I just got done working. I said, I work at this radio station. Oh, you work at radio, you sell, he says, I work at Meyer. I go, excellent. And he goes, what do you do at the radio station? I go, well, I talk. You talk. Yeah, like on the radio. Oh, his eyes light up. And I go, Prakash, had I met you at the start of the show, you'd have been on the radio today. We'd have brought you right up the steps, and we'd have made you a star talking about the perfection of yoga. And he goes, we do this every Monday, every Wednesday. I go, okay, buddy. Well, I will keep an eye out for you. I'm so glad that you said hello. And then he had to run along. So it was fun. And so now I've got this book, The Perfection of Yoga. So I don't know. I might have to send this off to our pal Kenny, who does DDP yoga, which I don't think is the same thing. Sam the Jew here. I'm pretty sure you weren't with us yesterday as the Super Bowl of Jewish observances took place. Yom Kippur. Okay, so I'm guessing you didn't do any type of interaction with the world concerning like media. You got to lay low on Yom Kippur. You're praying, you're focusing on the importance of the big day, and then Sam confirms it. And you know that I said that before you wrote Yom Kippur. Stayed at home and fasted. We had a whole breakdown of Yom Kippur on yesterday's show. Now, that, along with Rosh Hashanah, are the two big ones. So, depending on your vibe, you know, some folks are like, Rosh Hashanah, that's bigger. And other folks are like, Yom Kippur, are you kidding me? This is a Yom Kippur household. We need to have like a war to settle the score paintball event. The Yom Kippur is taking on the Rosh Hashanahs as to which one is bigger, more elaborate, more involved, more prayerful, more mindful. Good for you, Sam the Jew. One of the small number of Eric Zane Show podcast Jew listeners. Glad to have you back. Okay. Gas on the rise. Oh, my gosh. What? And in a big way. 30, 40 cent jump in my neck of the woods here. I'm like, what the hell? Oh. OPEC announces, yeah, we are cutting production. Oil producing exporting countries. OPEC Plus said Wednesday it is slashing oil production by 2 million barrels a day. Whenever I hear about numbers of that level, 2 million barrels a day. Like if you lined up 2 million 55-gallon drums in occupying a space. I mean, you think about how much room that would take up. 2 million barrels of oil. And considering the fact that they're cutting 2 million barrels of oil a day. Just the fact that 2 million barrels of oil a day come out of the ground. How is it that we haven't run out of oil like 100 years ago? My God. But they're like, no, we're going to stop. We're going to cut this 2 million barrels a day. We're concerned about flooding the market with too much oil, which would then keep the price down. So they're like trying to avoid that. Saudi Arabia and Russia are doing this. They announced the production cut following its first meeting in person since March 2020. The reduction is equivalent to about 2% of global oil demand. Okay. The decision was made in light of the uncertainty that surrounds the global economic and oil market outlooks. Global prices, which soared in the first half of the year, have since dropped sharply on fears that a global recession will depress demand. So those countries like, well, if all these people are going to cut their oil consumption, turn down their thermostats to save money, not travel as much to save money, we don't want to have too much production, which is going to be too much oil, and then the cost will drop. Shit. That sucks. So that means immediately at the pump, it skyrockets. And it's always the same, you know? If there's a hurricane forecast, price skyrockets and then trickles down. Why can't it skyrocket up and plummet? Surely, because, all right, if on Monday you put it at $4.50 a gallon, and then over a period of a month, it drops back down to $4 a gallon. So then for like one day, it's at $4 a gallon and then shoots right back up when there's even the thought of a hurricane out in the Atlantic Ocean. Joe Biden doesn't like this because you know how Americans are. If the price of gas goes up, Americans blame the president, at least the dumb ones. All right? Now, Biden knows that, and he has the midterm elections coming. And he's like, oh, man, this is a bad deal. I mean, we're trying to win this damn thing. We got, especially the Georgia thing is a big deal. We don't want the Senate to swing. More on Herschel Walker in a bit. Oh, God. And, basically, he's not liking this because it puts him in the crosshairs. You know, people don't, as soon as the price goes up, the tendency is it's Joe Biden's fault. So this is not good for him. So now the White House is reportedly considering a controversial measure to lower gas prices ahead of the midterm elections. And it's solely to win an election. And the companies, the U.S. exporters of diesel and other refined petroleum products are like, no, you can't do this. This is a bad deal. And the White House is like, oh, why? And they're like, well, if we have to spell it out for you, we will. There is a reason for it. And the White House is like, yeah, we got to win this election. So it's like, oh, God. So there's a lot of politics involved in this, and it's all bullshit because I think ultimately it could end up hurting us. If you're Joe Biden, you don't want to try to fix it cutting off your nose to spite your face. What you should do is you should just blame the Arabs and Russia. Just say, yeah, they're scumbags. They're doing this. Biden is not only blaming these countries, though, he's blaming actual gas stations. Heated discussions between the White House and oil industry bosses over the need to lower gas prices. Last week, Joe Biden slammed energy giants and gas stations themselves for raking in hefty profits and called on them to cut gas prices immediately. I don't know if it's the gas station's fault. I think it's pretty typical that gas stations really don't make much money, more than a few pennies per gallon on gas. All right? It's the oil companies themselves that are doing it, not the gas stations. I mean, I don't want to go blame my J&H family of stores for high gas prices. They make their money on the overpriced stuff inside of there. You know, like Mike Ball is stocking the shelves at those places, and you're paying $1.50 for, you know, whatever confectionery Little Debbie goodness, and it costs like 6 cents for that gas station. That's how they make their money. So I don't know if you can blame the gas stations here. But the White House is trying to do this cover. Let's see. The U.S. gas price ticked higher. White House has asked the Energy Department to look into whether a ban on exports of gasoline would bring down the cost for American drivers. Now, again, he's not doing this to help you and I. He's doing this to win an election. That's why this is happening. I don't want any of you to think that this is like something that is on the up and up. This is absolutely for optics alone. The problem with this, it says the move is a sign that the idea of a ban on exporting gasoline is gaining support in the Biden administration in the face of fervent opposition from the oil industry. The measure would cover U.S. exports of diesel and other refined petroleum products as well as the gas. We're trying to keep the gas in the United States. Okay? Try to keep gas and diesel from leaving the country to other nations that utilize it produced here in the U.S. The issue is a hot one for the administration with the election 5 weeks away. Biden is focused on keeping a lid on gas prices, which have contributed to a near 40-year high inflation in the U.S. economy. With an export ban in place, gas prices could then fall as the move would protect domestic supply. But oil industry trade groups have said this is bad, warning it could disrupt global energy markets. So it affect the rest of the world. In a Tuesday letter to Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, former governor of Michigan, another amazingly attractive lady, I think, banning or limiting the export of refined products would likely decrease inventory levels, reduce domestic refining capacity, put upward pressure on consumer fuel prices, and alienate U.S. allies during a time of war. That's the big one. U.S. allies are like, yeah, we got this tank, and we want to go blow up the Russians. It's Volodymyr Zelensky. There's no gas. There's no diesel in the tank. The heads of the American Petroleum Institute and American fuel and petrochemical manufacturers wrote. Meanwhile, Biden administration is also scrambling to persuade OPEC and its allies not to make too late. Reducing the supply to the oil market would likely drive up prices. It has, which could then feed into higher prices for U.S. gas. It's already here. It took hours. It took an announcement. There's no trickle down whatsoever when it comes to the price of gas. It's going to take a little while before that slashing of 2 million barrels a day even starts to affect actual production. But yet we immediately see that spike in cost. Holy shit. That stupid truck I have, Jim wanted to borrow it, and it was near empty. And I was like, oh, shit, I want to just give it to him empty and have him fill it up. But I'm such a sucker. Like, I can't let him do that. I got to take care of him. I coddle my kids. Probably shouldn't, but I should. That's what you do. He's struggling. He's struggling worse than I am. I mean, I'm not struggling. He is struggling. I go to the gas station. $102 to fill that bastard up. I'm like, oh, fuck. He needed to borrow it because his car's getting work done. I go, all right, I'm giving you this with a full tank of gas. Please give it back to me with a full tank of gas. Okay, no problem. Off he goes. I have no car. All right. So that's what's up. A lot of people are pissed about this. I need to get that guy, Patrick DeHaan, on. Patrick DeHaan is a dude that lives right around here. And he created a site called GasBuddy.com, where he's like the one guy in the world who knows the cost of gas everywhere. He knows everything about this. He's an absolute guru. I don't know if he has autism and this is his gift or what, or Asperger's. You know how it is. Some of the most brilliant minds on the planet are Aspergery and autistic-y. But, whenever there's a spike in gas prices, he's on the Today Show. He's like got chicks throwing their underwear at him. He's an absolute superstar. I need to get that guy on. That's all he does for a living is talks gasoline. Okay, if you're watching this show on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, I'm about to say goodbye to you. If you want the rest of the show, you got to go to twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Go there, give yourself a little username, and then follow the page. Watch it as it happens live, if that's your thing. If not, as always, you can download the audio podcast wherever you download shows after I finish doing this live show, okay? When you are on Twitch, you can correspond with the usual suspects here. I see a lot of the same faces every single morning. They're awesome. You'll make friends, and you'll stay acquainted for a lifetime. But okay, if not, enjoy the rest of your day. I say goodbye to you now.